Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. And we have got ourselves what should be a good one here, if not one of the best bot games, as it's going to be none other than negativeZero taking on Eris in a bot author recommended replay. So the two top bots taking each other on here. And yeah, should just be a fun one to watch. One of the bot authors did send in this replay, so I'm very excited for it. And yeah, we are on Thunderbird, the AI edition. And we've got negativeZero going for a probe scout to start this game off, so everything looking too normal. negativeZero and Eris aren't the most cheesy bots. They can get a bit aggressive at times. I'd say more so negativeZero, but yeah, nothing too crazy at the start of the game, I don't think. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we watch this probe do its fancy pathing, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. If we can hit, let's go for 66 likes on this video, that would be amazing. You guys are the best. You always blow it out of the water with the likes and then leaving comments saying more bots. Let me know, more Eris, more negativeZero. Maybe you have some feedback on what could potentially be changed depending on the result of this game. And then, yeah, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. This is the only channel that has daily StarCraft 2 bots on it, unless you count the 24/7 AI Arena stream. And then, yeah, if you do want to support this content, consider becoming a YouTube member. It goes a long way. And let's see where this one's going to go. We've got negativeZero going for a low ground wall off. negativeZero is quite good with its walls usually, as the Zealot does move out towards the third base, just making sure there's no Ling there. So probably going to be a third base following this up relatively soon. And then just an Adept being chrono boosted out behind this. The bot-controlled Adepts are something that can be a little bit wacky at times, but they also can be something that can be incredibly effective. So we'll just see how well Eris is going to potentially deal with this first Adept crossing the map. negativeZero has not fired up another unit yet. It's just saturating up its natural. And that speed mining means these bots can, both of them, expand sooner than a human player would usually be able to. And so that is one of the things. These bots, they just expand and grow very rapidly. We do have a Ling coming on in. The probe actually kind of blocks it. However, that will seemingly cost the probe its life. That's unfortunate. A second Ling comes on in. So negativeZero loses a probe as Eris gets first blood. Meanwhile, that Adept, I believe it must have gone on the other side of the map and harassed a little bit, but didn't kill anything. It's now trying to chase down this single Ling. The Adept can actually chase down the Ling, which is something that we can see. Eris is constantly microing these Lings to stay out of range of opposing units, so they can actually be somewhat tricky to catch. negativeZero continues to produce these Zealots. As it fires that third base up, Eris has got its own third a little bit sooner, but good timing for both of these bots. And then it looks like the Zealot for negativeZero, once that Nexus at the third is building, moves towards the fourth base. So that seems to be a very cool approach by the bot author to ensure that the expansion is always, or that the next expansion is always free to be taken. I'm not sure if this is something that negativeZero has always done. Maybe I'm just noticing it now. But that wouldn't surprise me if that's like a very sort of anti-Zerg bot, anti-Eris bit of programming, because Eris is constantly denying expansions with the odd Ling here and there, running them towards an expo. But if you just park a Zealot there, that's a very clever way to get ahead of that. At the same time, that does mean you do have a Zealot that's out on the map and potentially vulnerable, so who knows, maybe we'll see Eris in the future try and snipe those down or something. As there is a lot of meta when it comes to these bot authors. Like, there's a very, very healthy amount of bots in the StarCraft 2 bot scene. Like, there's many competitors that are always taking maps off each other, but when it comes to the best, like Eris, negativeZero, the bot authors very much, I imagine, look at each other. It's like Cyril and Clem. It's like if you're the best player, you're going to be looking at the other best competitor to be your primary focus, so to speak. So we've got Adepts for negativeZero looking to poke Eris a little bit. Some drones may have their mining disrupted. Lings and Roaches are on the way to try and shut this down a little bit. negativeZero, will it complete some of these shades? No, it won't. It does force the drones to burrow, though, in order to be safe. So a little bit of economic advantage there. Just forcing some drones to burrow. We've got 1 drone dead, 4 dead Lings so far this game. All in all, very few units have died this match. negativeZero is looking to get aggressive on Eris, though, as these Adepts are constantly shading around. They do eventually complete the shade. I don't know what prompts them to actually go for that. These Roaches, though, are out and can clean up Adepts pretty effectively. All these burrowed drones, though, are not mining right now. The Adepts then shade to the main base, so keeping that harassment alive. They're not getting kills or anything because, well, the drones are planted like potatoes, but if we look at that income tab, it definitely is an advantage for negativeZero at the cost of some of these Adepts. They will get cleaned on up. negativeZero scouts the lair. That's kind of a given in a 6-minute game with Eris, though, so nothing too surprising. The Protos bot is finally throwing up a 4th base, so not the quickest 4th from negativeZero. It did invest in quite a few Adepts, quite a few Zealots early on, and so that delays the 4th, whereas Eris is now getting up its 5th base. But the game will continue on here as we've got negativeZero making an Immortal. That Immortal count is something that's very important to watch because they are just phenomenal units in the hands of bots, really high HP. So, and bots do struggle with sort of getting the kill on units. Like, humans are very good. You see something in the red and it sort of triggers your monkey brain where you're like, oh, I gotta kill that. And whereas bots, they are not necessarily as good at focusing down injured units. These bots do have good targeting for the most part, but not when it comes to sort of the, I'll say, bigger picture, I suppose. And let's see here, as we've got negativeZero just building up its army composition. Oracle's on the way for a Revelation. There is a second Stargate, so we'll see what those are going to be used for as this game progresses. The Toss is building a nice cannon battery wall. It's going to have to hold this 4th base against an angry Eris, which will be maxed out with 5-6 bases out, just all the tools at its disposal that it wants. So things are going to get a little rough, I feel, for negativeZero in the near future. Eris has got 4 Infestors on the way. Those are no joke. We've got cannons being produced. And then, yeah, let's see here. Overseers moving around. Adept shading forward. The Lings do try and surround them, and they will successfully do that. negativeZero is looking to catch Eris off guard and go for a push. However, it's definitely less supply than what Eris has to defend, as all this Zerg is coming down the ramp now. negativeZero is retreating with the Immortals. However, one gets surrounded, a second one gets surrounded, and a third one gets picked off. That's quite painful for the Protoss bot, so a bit of overextension there. Now we've got Oracle's constantly dropping Revelation on the army of Eris. negativeZero is replacing its Immortals 3 at a time. I mean, well, that means it'll at least replace the 3 that got lost fairly quickly. Another Immortal randomly out on the map. That's something that negativeZero does. Kind of has units all over the place all the time. But Eris likes to group up and go for these focus pushes that wins at so many games. We're seeing some of negativeZero's army push towards the left. That means they are basically stuck units. There's no blink yet. We're seeing Phoenix be added on for the Protoss bot. I'm not sure what those are going to be used for, maybe lifting Infestors, but now the Protoss bot is on the defensive as Eris is coming on in. There's cannons. We do see that recall get utilized by negativeZero. What does it pull? A few Stalkers. I think it might have been some of those on the left side. Eris is quite committed to this, though. The cannons and batteries did buy time. Meanwhile, the Zerg doesn't have the most amount of reinforcements coming in to help this, actually. Great fungal growth hits some of these Immortals and Stalkers. The Protoss, though, is successfully chasing this Zerg army away, though, as the Roaches are burrowing and trying to run. Eris is being pushed away. And negativeZero has got up a 5th base during all this chaos, so holding on to that is very, very important. We're now seeing the Protoss bot add in Colossus disruptors, so going into further robo-tech, I'm not sure how effective it's going to be, but who knows, maybe it'll help out. We are seeing the Phoenix count continue to grow, so this is going to be really interesting how effective negativeZero can make these Phoenix be. It's chasing down Overlords, which is good to see. I'm not sure how many have been killed, but we can see just a few Overseers, or a couple Overseers, an Overlord, and a Dropper Overlord. So these Phoenix very well could pay for themselves. This is something that a human player cannot do in a match because it's just too much micro, but negativeZero can control those independently. We've got the Protoss now running probes away from this base. They do eat a fungal, so that is damage on the probes. Disruptors chasing the Zerg away. Another fungal goes down. That's going to kill quite a few probes. negativeZero is losing quite a few units. We see a recall go down, but not that much actually came to help out. Well, because most of negativeZero's army is present at this 3rd base, but the mining at the 3rd is being disrupted. So negativeZero is on 3 bases mining right now against Eris, which is unharassed on its 5, 6 bases, going up to 7, 8 bases, I believe that is. And yeah, that is quite concerning. Phoenix are actually getting some lifts off. Parasitic Bomb hits the Phoenix, so one of those actually takes some, well, one of them goes down, a few of them take damage. negativeZero holds on for now. We'll see. It does manage to resume mining at the 4th base, and then it's thrown up a cannon, so it'll be important to watch whether it can reestablish like static defense at these bases, whether we see more cannons and stuff go up. Eris has backed off for a moment, allowing negativeZero to hit 177 supply, not a bad amount. Phoenix flying forward, kind of baiting out some fungals, although some of them did connect. And looks like Corruptors have been produced for Eris, maybe as a response to the Phoenix. Colossus are doing pretty well for themselves, but they actually are prime targets for the Corruptors too, so they are setting to work on those Colossus. The Phoenix coming in to try and help out. There is a fungal that goes down. The Nexus for negativeZero perishes, so things are looking a little bit rough for the Protoss bot, as Eris has now pushed creep towards negativeZero's side of the map. The Protoss bot maintains a decent army for now, but it's going to need to rebuild that Nexus as soon as it can. It's actually building another Robo, so getting up a 5th, that's a 6th Robo. That is too many Robos for negativeZero. That is definitely some lost efficiency there from the red Protoss bot. I mean, maybe if it had like 6, 7 mining bases, a Robo would be a good add there, but I don't really see a situation where a bot ever needs more than like 3, 4 Robos perhaps. So that could be a potential improvement there. Anyway, we've got Blinding Cloud going down, forcing some of these Protoss bots, but negativeZero does have this incredible army movement. If a unit is not shooting, it is pretty much actively pulling back to avoid damage, and so Eris is kind of just getting ground up as it tries to push up this ramp here on Thunderbird, so that is a very solid defense. We did have a Zealot parked at that base once again, so negativeZero's base clearing behavior seems to stay strong. Maybe I'm just seeing things, but I do believe that was the case. We've got quad observers being produced by negativeZero, saying it needs to see, as now it's got 6, which is a healthy amount. That 4th base, is being reestablished. There is cannons and batteries now at the 5th base, which is massively important. A recall actually gets dropped there to bring a unit down, or that was a probe and an observer, I think, that got recalled over there. Anyway, negativeZero is now cleaning out some of this creep, looking to push Eris back a little bit. Cleaning out the creep is definitely important, as this Protoss bot is holding the line for now, almost maxed out. Eris is almost maxed out, but here's a problem. Broodlords are now on the field for the Zerg. The Phoenix could very well help out against that, as there's not many Corruptors, as they've all been turned into Broodlords, it seems. Parasitic Bomb, Parasitic Bomb, Fungal Growth going down, so some of those Phoenix take damage. They are trying to chase these units down, but they are very, very injured. The Phoenix for negativeZero are filling a very well-rounded role. Now, it looks like they're kind of doing their part, chasing some of these units away, just soaking damage, that kind of thing. negativeZero is on 80 probes, still mining a reasonable amount. This 5th base staying alive is absolutely massive for the Protoss bot. We'll see whether it can hold on against these Broodlords. There's a good number of Stalkers on the ground. Corruptors causing problems, though. Abduct going down on Colossus, Disruptors, and negativeZero is trying to hold on as these Colossus wander forward. The Corruptors are getting damage done. Phoenix are trying to be heroes, but this is where Phoenix kind of fall off versus Corruptors in just a straight-up fight. And looks like a Broodlord does get assassinated by those Phoenix. They really are doing a good job, everything considered, but still, it's just Broodlords are such a problem. They're not an easy thing to program against because they require a strong commitment. With Broodlords, it's pretty much either build air, blink underneath them as Protoss, or retreat until you can do one of the first two. And so that does make it a bit difficult. Disruptors are tossing out Novas, constantly being abducted. negativeZero is looking to push out. Counterattacking is a way to deal with the Broodlords, so I guess I should add that to the list. negativeZero builds another Stargate, though. It's already got 3, and it's not exactly building anything out of them, so negativeZero just, it constantly grows its production past what it actually needs, it seems. As, for example, it's adding in another gateway, but it's definitely not using all its production right now. Anyway, we do have the red Protoss bot pushing out with 2 different groups, cleaning up creep on the left, finding a hatchery, so that is good. Splitting army is definitely a way to find success. Avoiding the Broodlords is probably the best bet. We do have the Phoenix actually getting on top of some of them, so that is really nice. There is no attack upgrades on the Phoenix, so they do deal just very small amounts of damage to the Broodlords, but the Stalkers, they're doing pretty well for themselves, although Broodlords come south. Eris is moving a Sporecrawler Forest to the front, because why not? As the Zerg bot has just got a massive economy still. It's taken no damage, so it's just able to maintain these trades non-stop. So the pressure is on negativeZero to make something happen. Oracle gets hit with a parasitic bomb, trying to avoid its friends fairly successfully. Fungal growth getting tossed out. Eris has got quite a count of spellcasters now. We've got the Protoss bot recalling towards this base. The recall behavior from negativeZero is very interesting, but it seems to hit more than it misses, as the Protoss bot is now pushing the Zerg, completely kind of ignoring the Broodlords, which is exactly what needs to happen. Mining is being disrupted for Eris, as these Stalkers are just kind of having fun at this Zerg base. They are being cornered, though, by this massive flock of Broodlords, I guess it is, as negativeZero does push towards the north, looking to kill a base of Eris, so that's one base going down. We've got this base having its mining being disrupted, Revelations constantly getting tossed out. The Oracle usage for negativeZero cannot be overstated to actually allow these roaches to be killed instead of just burrowing and retreating. And man, negativeZero is just choosing the strategy of attack everywhere. It's just the way the programming of this bot works. It seems to just like to split up its army sometimes and hit multiple locations. It wants to build the Nexus there. That's a bit ambitious for the Protoss bot, although this Zealot is here cleaning up creep tumors. Very cool to see, as the Protoss bot is really bringing the pain to Eris. The Broodlords remain a problem, but this is almost like a human game. Stalkers are glitching out, attacking a Sporecrawler, so that's very unfortunate. A bug that the bot author has acknowledged with in previous games, but fortunately they don't seem to be stuck with that forever. And let's see, Phoenix chasing down Corruptors. It's like 5v1. The Corruptor has actually got air upgrades, though, so the Phoenix are a little bit outclassed, but they got the numbers for now. Broodlords are still causing problems. negativeZero has pushed all over the map. It killed one base, pressuring other bases. Eris, though, is now having the Broodlords be pursued a bit. Phoenix on top of the Broodlords is massive, as some of those are actually starting to go down. I wouldn't mind seeing +1 flyer attack at this point with this many Phoenix out on the map. Now, Stalkers are actually blinking underneath the Broodlords and are killing a massive amount of them. Most of the Broodlords are going down. I don't know how negativeZero has been turning this one around, but it's been doing very well. Now, Eris still has a decent economy to fall back on, but it's lost a good number of drones. negativeZero has cleaned out multiple bases, is going to be shutting down another. At the same time, the Protoss bot is really running out of money. Even its 5th base can't be looking that good. No, it is not. So negativeZero is, it needs to take another base, or it needs to Well, yeah, it needs to take another base, or it needs to basically kill Eris sooner rather than later. The Zerg bot is producing units. It's got the Spore Crawler Forest in the middle of the map, but negativeZero has such a strong ground army right now. I'm not sure how Eris is going to deal with this. The Spore Crawlers are seemingly messing with the Stalkers a little bit, but fortunately nothing permanent. As, yeah, negativeZero waltzes forward towards the Stalkers, towards the Spore Crawlers again. Something, yeah, like it doesn't want to attack that one, so very, very interesting, but not a great bug. Anyway, we've got a Nexus getting established for negativeZero amidst all the creep, so that's good to see. That's going to give the Protoss bot more longevity. Stalkers are killing off these Spore Crawlers. Eris is down to 112 supply, and yeah, these Stalkers for negativeZero, their blink is just so cool to see as they just all move forward, and now they're chasing down some of these Corruptors as, yeah, there's the blink once again. Just, it's such cool blink micro from these bots. The Corruptors are trying to escape because there's nothing for them to do, but this leads negativeZero to a mining base of Eris. The main base is being harassed by Phoenix, which are going to find all the Overlords, and so that's not great for them. Fun fact for those of you that didn't know, Overlords benefit from Carapace, so they actually are tougher to kill than you'd think in this current situation. But I do think negativeZero has been able to take this one, successfully taking another base, and then just, I think it really just won this game by attacking all over the place. So really well done, because, yeah, Eris is an absolute killer. It was in quite a commanding position, but holding on to that 5th base for negativeZero was great. Oh, that Disruptor needs to needs to be court-martialed or something for friendly fire, as that just killed quite a few of its own Stalkers, or a Creep Tumor, I believe it was. Anyway, this has been a great game between these two. I still think of Eris as the favorite when these two go head-to-head, but negativeZero absolutely can win some of these games, and I'll definitely cast more of the games in the future. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this cast, click the like button for this 20-plus minute epic match, leave a comment down below, and then subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support daily StarCraft 2 casts in the bot scene, consider becoming a YouTube member. And then, yeah, just big thanks to the bot author that sent in this replay. I really appreciate it when bot authors send in replays that are, well, could even be not their bots. But it also is when they send in replays of their bots not necessarily winning a game, but still having a very cool game. And Eris absolutely did have a very cool game. It was so close to breaking negativeZero, but just the just like the behavior of negativeZero to attack everywhere. It's like a classic thing. Protoss sees Broodlords and attacks everywhere else because it wants to avoid the Broodlords. So maybe Eris needed to be more aggressive with the Broodlords. Like, if you just try and play defensive with the Broodlords, you're almost guaranteed to kind of be picked apart, at least on Thunderbird, a map that's so spread out such as this with so many attack paths. Probably doesn't happen on other maps as much because it's just not as easy to get around and attack, but like negativeZero definitely did make use that it was able to attack this base, and will go towards the left as well, so that caused problems for Eris. But yeah, a really great game. What do we got left for the structures? Spawning pool, hatchery, 2 extractors. That's just the main base. GG.